I found this old pink painted dresser for $6.99 in the thrift store recently, so I bought it, and when I hauled it home, I began to look over it in detail. It's certainly in rough shape, and there's obvious damage that needs repair, but I couldn't help but wonder what was hiding under the paint. My name is Barry, and this is another restoration story. The topic for this one is something many of you can probably relate to. I fully intended to start working on this dresser immediately, but maybe you know how that often goes. A few days later, it was already buried in the back of the workshop. Now, I'm ready to finally see what's hiding under this paint, and I have some exciting news to share with you. But first, the story. No matter our age, we all find ourselves in a season of waiting for something. For graduation day, the day we get married, the day we retire, or the day we're finally healed from an illness. In a season of waiting, you feel like you're doing all the right things, showing up, working hard, and staying faithful, but the results aren't coming in your own planned timing. You may even begin to feel like life is drifting away quickly, while at the same time feeling like it's stuck in slow motion. Waiting also happens just outside the door of my workshop, waiting for the magnolia to blossom after another brutal winter, for the trees to bud, and for the robin to return to build a nest once again. This antique dresser was tucked away in the back of my shop. I'd glance at it in passing, and maybe even run my hand across the surface out of habit, but I found myself waiting to start on it. I guess I just wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. When I finally began to peel back the layers, all I could do was laugh when I discovered what was hiding under the paint. A few days ago, through a community post, I asked you what topics you would like me to discuss in future videos. Many of you asked for me to mention how I got into this line of work, and how I learned these refinishing skills. I'm excited to share my story with you in the next video coming out in just a few days. Regarding how I learned these furniture refinishing skills, it was first a lot of research online, then practicing what I had learned. If you're looking to learn a new skill, the most important thing is just being willing to dedicate the time and effort that's required to have success. With all the information out there, it's difficult to find a structured plan that helps you achieve your goals at your own pace. This video is sponsored by Craftsy. Craftsy is this amazing online community where millions of crafters, makers, and DIY enthusiasts find creative inspiration, advance their skills, and learn new ones along the way. Craftsy offers over 2,000 classes in over 20 popular categories like crochet, baking, knitting, painting, photography, cake decorating, woodworking, and more. I recently refurbished a few old cast iron skillets for this purpose. Right now I'm taking a class called Cooking with Cast Iron Skillets, with expert guidance from Clifford Wright. This is 2 full hours of unique ways to get the most out of cooking with cast iron. What I like most is the pace. These lessons are broken down step by step, and you can watch them on your own time. So if you've been thinking about trying something new, or just want to get better at something you already love, join Craftsy. They're constantly adding new classes, and there's seriously something for everyone. And here's the best part. The first 1,000 of you to scan the QR code or click the link in the video description get a full year of Craftsy Premium for just $1.49. It's totally worth it and a great way to invest in yourself. Thanks again to Craftsy for sponsoring today's video. I'm using No. 2 steel wool and this afterwash product to neutralize and remove the chemical stripper. So why did I think it was so funny when I removed all this paint? Well, I just refinished an old dresser with this same faux oak wood grain finish. So now I'm left wondering again, what species is hiding underneath? This faux oak wood grain finish was very common during the early part of the 20th century, so I shouldn't be too disappointed about this discovery. As I often do, I took a risk with this painted dresser. Based on the condition of this dresser, as found in the thrift store, I would imagine someone else would have at least found it and painted it again. So if in my moment of disappointment I choose to scrap this piece altogether, then it has no chance of avoiding the landfill. So I must push on and at least see what I can learn from this. That's when I came up with a new plan for this dresser. Regardless of what I would find, this might still make a unique gift for a friend who will use it for a very specific purpose. So with that in mind, I decided to push forward and use this project to continue working on my skills. This dresser was worn, deeply scratched, and painted over so many times you couldn't tell what the original wood looked like. It had clearly lived through years of use, maybe even neglect, long before any restoration began. A season of waiting allows time to see things clearly, past the damage, past the dust, and past all the assumptions we make at first glance. That's what a season of waiting does. It slows you down just enough to notice what you've rushed past, and it gives you space to see the layers that need peeling back. One advantage to working on an old furniture piece made from solid wood during this season is being able to clean it off with the pressure washer. As long as the chemical stripper is removed, this step doesn't cause any damage, and in direct sunlight, this piece will dry completely within an hour. There is one drawer with a piece missing from the drawer front. Before I make this repair, I need to sand back the rest of the old finishes to better understand the wood species I need to match. I think this is Douglas fir, which surprised me for this old dresser, but that should make more sense soon. Now that I know, I'll head to the Habitat store to look for a close match. The risk, of course, is being tempted to bring home more furniture while there, but it doesn't hurt to look. A season of waiting is also a time to improve, to sharpen our skills with little risk and few distractions. Woodworking isn't my specialty, but this opportunity to use different hand tools is something I've been looking forward to. There are probably better ways to do this, and in the end, the joint won't be perfect, but I hope it will at least be better than the way I found it. I could have stared at this repair much longer, figuring out how to make it better, but it's time to move on. I'll continue sanding this dresser with the Surf Prep power sanders, and remove the paint from these hard to reach areas. The top drawer was difficult to open and close, and I think it's because of this separation, so I'll glue it and secure it with brad nails, hoping this fixes the problem. There's no question this work can be tedious, but I enjoyed balancing this challenge by switching back and forth between the repairs, sanding, and of course, more paint removal. Every single time I get to this step right here, where things look the messiest, I have to believe that something beautiful is going to come from this. Scraping the paint from all these areas on this dresser can feel like it's taking forever. If you're in a season of waiting right now, where things feel still or slow or uncertain, let this dresser be a reminder that waiting doesn't mean that nothing's happening, it just means something deeper is being prepared. These wooden casters were heavily damaged, so I decided to remove them altogether. There are probably many ways that a repair like this can be done, but I'll work at this with a chisel, a hand plane, and a sanding block until I'm satisfied with the results. You can imagine the disappointment when I realized the drawer fronts were pine and the top was maybe maple. I should have caught this long before, but the two bottom drawer fronts were likely replaced at some point. Here's the good news. At the same time, while working on another large piece in the shop, I discovered a species more desirable than I had first imagined. So how might this old dresser be used again? Well, first of all, I wouldn't consider this a restoration. The paint inside the drawers will just be scuffed and clear coated. There is still paint visible in some of the cracks, and there are plenty of dings and scratches throughout. Marks of character, I suppose. I think that's what gives this piece its unique charm, and while putting this back together, I realized what had happened. These two bottom drawer fronts, once intended to sit flush with the body of the dresser, were likely replaced. That would explain why these are pine and the rest of the dresser is solid maple. Regardless, here's the plan. I have a friend, and she has a small art studio in her home. This dresser will be a gift to be used in her studio to store some of her brushes and other art supplies. In that setting, this piece will probably eventually be splattered with paint, but that's okay. I'm certain it will be well loved for years to come. Not all of these drawer pulls were original, but I think I have enough spare parts to find at least 6 matching pulls. Staining maple can be difficult. With its unique fibers and grain patterns, the color will appear light in some areas and darker in others. This is normal, and I happen to like the contrast, So I'll stain this entire piece with a traditional oil-based stain, and I chose to protect this with several coats of clear shellac. I mentioned that I have some exciting news. Last week, I went live on the channel for the first time in 3 years. It was a chance to answer some of your questions. I'm excited to announce that for the foreseeable future, I'll plan to go live every Wednesday evening for about 30 minutes to an hour. Not really to do any work, but just to chat and answer your questions. I just upgraded to fiber internet, so streaming shouldn't be an issue like it was last time. So keep checking the community page for more updates, and let me know some topics that you'd like me to discuss. I'd like to leave you with these thoughts. Maybe you feel like you're stuck in a period of waiting, but being patient and waiting can be purposeful. You think you can force something to happen sooner, but you can't. It's in the period of waiting when we must continue to prepare ourselves for what's next, and that's when our strength is renewed. Soon, we realize the things we patiently waited for arrive at just the right time. My name is Barry, and thanks for joining me. Goodbye for now.